We were founded 2 years ago in 2021. And our mission is to provide high quality education that is accessible for everyone financially. And we believe that education doesn't necessarily have to take 3 years, that you can become a professional in just a few months and enter the job market. So we provide coding bootcamps. What these are? So these are intensive programs that focus on practical and job-ready skills, so that after graduating in 3 months, time you will be able to secure a job in tech industry. Now, what bootcamps do we offer? So we have 4 main programs: cybersecurity, full-stack web development, UX/UI design, and data science. And you can download the syllabus for all of these 4 programs from our website, codelabsacademy.com. So these are very detailed, and you can find all the information in there. So have a look if you're interested. Now, who is it for? As I already said, we wanted to make our bootcamps financially accessible for everyone, and I'm gonna talk about financial plans in a moment. And then we offer 2 options. So full-time bootcamp takes up to 12 weeks and is recommended for people who are actually willing to spend a full day, meaning 8 hours from Monday to Friday, strictly learning. So this is a perfect option for people who go through a career change and are unemployed and want to quickly secure a job in the tech industry. We also offer part-time, which takes 24 weeks, so it's double the time. And this is for people mostly who have other responsibilities, like they have a job, they have family they have to attend to, and they can invest from 15 to 20 hours per week for learning. It's usually on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And we do recommend for everyone to take part-time courses, just because the full-times are really, really intense. You learn something new every day, you apply the new stuff every day, and then you just need to move on to other stuff. So the part-time course is just easier to digest. So as for financing options, we offer quite a few discounts, such as 10% for women in tech initiatives. So every woman who signs up for a coding bootcamp with us gets a 10% off to close the gender gap in tech industry, 25% for students, and more. Thanks to our financing partners, you can pay for the bootcamp in installments or use our income sharing agreements, which means that you only start paying for the bootcamp after securing a job in the industry. We also provide career services, which means we do not only teach you practical stuff and then leave you alone. We have career sessions throughout the whole time of the bootcamps. There's career action planning. We will tell you how to create your perfect portfolio that will help you secure a job, and how to create your LinkedIn profile to be an attractive candidate for employers. And how to apply. These are all the steps. So you need to go to our website, codelabsacademy.com, choose the desired course. Is it full-time or part-time? Is it fully online or hybrid? Then you just need to simply book a chat with us, quick call, so we can get to know more about you, to prepare a better offer for you that's going to suit your needs. Then you need to take a Kahoot quiz, so you can check your background and your knowledge in tech, choose the financing option, and pay the deposit, and you're in. We also provide free workshops. So we have both types. We provide free online workshops and in-person workshops, and as well career events such as this one today. We also have another career event on May 24th. If anyone's interested in Python, we partnered up with Berlin, and Mo is gonna be one of the speakers there. And if you have any questions, you can just contact us, send us an email, call, or you can just approach us after presentations, and we will be happy to answer your questions. Okay. I'm just gonna mention that we would like to take a few pictures for socials, if that's okay with everyone. If not, just let us know and we will make sure that you will be not included in pictures. Okay? Thank you. And now, thanks. And now I would like to invite Sprita, our first guest speaker. Hope you guys are doing well on Friday evening. Welcome. Let's get started. Firstly, cheers to all of you for choosing this path. And this will be you when you first land your job. Trust me, it's going to be amazing and it's going to be very, very soon. A little about me, I'm Shrija. I'm an associate product designer at Delivery Hero since July 2022. I did my master's here in Berlin in innovation design management. Before that, I did my bachelor's in architecture. And here's my story. So back in India, I was an architect and I had this urge to level up, specifically in understanding customers better, and also I was fascinated by the digital world. And that's when I decided to do career transition. And I looked it up, and UX UI was the best possible transition that I could take. But the transition wasn't very smooth, I'd say, because I did my master's, which I thought was the easiest part. But trust me, it wasn't. And then I had to do minimum of 13 part-time jobs and a lot of unpaid internships and never-ending stress. I cannot blame the stress at all. And then finally, I got an opportunity as an intern at Delivery Hero, from where I got promoted to associate product designer. And that was my first job. And that's my journey. And a little bit about the transition between architecture and UX UI. I'd say they're both very obvious parallels, they're both very similar. And to the left is the picture of the perfect example that I found. Because imagine a lock. As an architect, you would go for physical lock and imagine a physical design. And then as a UX UI designer, you would go for a digital lock. But then both of them are the same. So I'd say that UX UI and architects both know how to interact with people and as well as how people interact with each other. And essentially, there are two common points, again, aligning with them, customer-centric design and also share similar problem-solving processes. So it made it a little easier for me to transition. And how did my master's help? It helped to build a solid foundation within other areas such as management, strategy, branding, product management, as well as marketing. And this was my journey of transition. And that wasn't over. I landed my first job, and then there are several challenges that I've been facing as an associate product designer. Firstly, I'd say communication and storytelling. As designers, we often focus on how well the design has to be or how out of the box the design has to be, but then articulating the design to other people is where the difficulty comes. So that is the important thing that everyone has to focus on. And facilitating workshops, I cannot stress enough on that. Time management. You have a lot of projects, a lot of things coming in, and no one would care about how many you're handling apart from your manager. But you have to manage your own time, own projects, and everything else. Design feedback. So it depends a lot on you, how critically you understand the designs and how well you take other person's perspectives. Self responsibility, usability testing, and also staying strong on your work. And yeah, that's precisely me. I always take up all challenges and say, challenge accepted. And a little advice that I'd say from my personal career transition as well as development is identify the right opportunities for you. Evaluate opportunities according to your skill level. I know there are a lot of jobs opening up, but you have to find your niche. Network, network, network. I cannot stress enough. Go to LinkedIn, go to meetups. This is amazing. You're all here already. Look for a supportive environment and willingness to invest. Delivery Hero again was really invested in hiring interns and looking at their growth and also hiring them as full time. So you would find one as well. Just look for the best opportunity. Give as many interviews as possible. I think you already know that drill. Take up internships and work on pet projects, whatever you're interested in. And in the end, find a mentor. Honestly, I did not realize how important a mentor is until I found one. They'll be very supportive, very caring. They'll understand what your growth potential is. They'll be there. They'll be your best cheerleader. In fact, my mentor is right here. Say hi. Jeez, I wanted to do that for a long time.
Now I'm blushing.
And that's it. That's it from my side. Any questions? Yes.
How did you find your mentor? Was it in the job or?
Yeah, he's actually my mentor as well as my manager at Delaware.
But now we are just colleagues.
Yes.
So, while you were in the phase between the transition, like as an architecture professional, and then you choose a field in UX and UI design, right? So, like, did you face any doubts, like, why should I do this? Like, what was the part, like, when is it that you decided that okay, UI UX is the one and not architecture?
I think it's just a journey. I wouldn't say that it's over, the doubting is over, but once you get your first job, once you understand your potential, I think you'll figure out how it is. But yeah, initially I was very strong that I have to transition. I think it's also because of my interest and passion towards the digital world. But I did stick to designing. So I kept my design strong and I was like, okay, I'm going through the design, but still I'm just transitioning between a physical designing and digital designing. Yes.
Are you also involved in the UX research part, or as a product designer, or are you like more responsible for like the solution part?
We do have a researcher dedicated, but whenever you get a problem, you first, as a designer, you take up, you find the proper points, and then you also get guidance from the researcher. So it goes hand in hand, I'd say.
In like short words, how much would you say that like all of that you learned is helping you right now to your daily task in your job?
I think every day is a learning for me, and definitely I mean, it also depends on how you are taking all your challenges. So if you're a learner, I think you'll learn every single day and reach your potential and never give up. But yes, I have learned a lot, and the internships, the part-time jobs, and everything helped me a lot. Yes.
What are the projects that you would recommend for one who is in between in a transition phase from some other career to UI UX? So, and how to find and decide on those projects?
Are you talking about
Yeah,
pet
any kind of
projects
pet
or
projects that you talked about.
portfolio?
Yeah.
Um, for example, you use Spotify every day or LinkedIn every day, and if you find an issue, or you can actually look for issues, and then you can take up that and work on the pet project for yourself, find solutions, and also please do usability testing because that's something very important. You have to understand the users, get their feedback, and then again iterate the design. So I'd say just come up with some problem for yourself and do. Or honestly, there are a lot of influencers online who have been doing small projects. So maybe you can look that up and take the same project and finish in your own perspective. Cool. If there's nothing else, that's it from my side. Thank you.
Okay, so Juliana, if you'd like to go next, that would be awesome.
Thanks. Just switch the presentation.
Awesome.
Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm happy to be here. A little bit about myself. I'm Juliana. I'm UX/UI designer and illustrator. I work in this field around 7 years. I have experience with different agencies, design studios, and startups here in Berlin. Originally, I come from Ukraine. I moved to Germany in 2015 and to Berlin 5 years ago. So it has been a long journey. So what about my goals for this talk today? Because I always like to set some goals, so it's kind of measurable. First of all is to raise awareness about design as a career, because as I assume everyone here have been thinking about to change career, or maybe it's at the beginning. Also share some professional insights about my personal journey into design. And one kind of like my main goal of the talks, if I do something like this, is to spread the message which is missing at the university, from my opinion, because many people who were studying design, including myself, we were like pushed by our professors to work on creative projects, and then it was a kind of a disappointment once you come to your professional life and you have a bit different approach to the creative process. So my journey into design started actually with philosophy. This is my first education, which I did in Kyiv in Ukraine. And because it's a talk about design, I was trying to analyze what did philosophy education actually gave me in order, hi.
Hi, everyone.
So yeah, how did philosophy education help me in terms of design? So first, as every philosophy student, I learned to structure complex information, because you have to work basically with a lot of data. Then I mastered conducting a research. At this part, I was not thinking about user research. I did not even know this thing existed like 10 years ago, but actually it gives you really good skills in order to do any kind of research, including user research. And also it developed my analytical skills, which I think also a very big and important part of design. So I finished philosophy university, was back in Ukraine. It was my project. I wrote a book about postmodern art in Ukraine, which I also designed, and I did not know what is the next step. And that's why I wanted to bring up the word uncertainty, because I think many young professionals, they're searching for something like a guideline, the roadmap, what to do. But this is it would be nice to have it, but I think it's not possible. So let's stay realistic that uncertainty is actually giving you the space for creativity and to space to find your own solution, and uncertainty is the only security. So I moved to Germany. I started my second education as a design of visual communication. And this was the first icons I was creating. Like 9 years ago, I was making them out of paper. I found them on Facebook somewhere. And then I was basically trying all creative directions possible. I even tried a bit of calligraphy, but I'm left-handed, was a bad idea. So how did I land at my first job? It was already in Germany. After first semester, I created my first Behance portfolio. And then I was collaborating with different artists, also engineers, doing whatever possible, but the real job, and also networking. Basically, those three components helped me to land my first job in the field. I was working in Augsburg, Munich for a couple of years while studying, and then at some point I found an internship in Berlin, in Berliner Läufer, in Matterhaus. It's in Charlottenburg. It's quite known, I would say. And there I was doing a mix of product, of graphic design, and also illustration. So the good part of it was that I was working with really big clients, and the team was really great and very professional. And it was also my personal test living in Berlin, because it was good before decide to move here full time. What helped me to find this job was my Behance portfolio, updated, and also networking. So after I finished my internship in Berlin, I went back to Augsburg. I was working back in Munich at the marketing agency, also doing lots of product design, photography, even a bit illustration, but also realized that marketing agency is not the world where I want to develop myself. Personal reasons, just I don't see that much attention to detail as we have in product design in marketing world. What helped me by this point I already had my PDF portfolio, and I also was searching actively, but also because I had quite some years of experience, and I had this internship in Berlin, which is, by the way, was paid one, and I want to encourage everyone here not to do unpaid internship. It's my personal position. I know there are different opinions about it, but I think as a young professional you should not sell yourself for nothing, because it's not good for yourself, it's not good for the industry, because then the agencies know, okay, there are people who are ready to do it for zero. So I would just say it's a red flag, don't do it. If people do it, their decision, but I would not recommend it. So yeah, I was moving to Berlin full time, and I remember when I was moving here, I had a lot of thoughts about starting a full a freelancer career. I even went to Finanzamt to get my number, but then I realized, okay, I'm not really ready for that. So I decided to work actually for startups, which I did for a couple of years. And it was an interesting journey. As a startup worker, it's a completely different experience compared to big companies. And I think it really depends on your age, on your goals, on what are you looking for. I think it was trying. I made a lot of cool projects there. I found great people. What helped me, by that time I already had my first website, I had my PDF portfolio, I also had a test task. So some companies even wanted me to come and do a test working day. But usually test task is normal. Today, when I was showing this presentation to Bernarda, she found a really beautiful headline for this page, which is called Constant Learning Mentality, which I want just to kind of stress out a bit here, because I think the industry is changing so fast that it's just impossible to do one course or finish university and then just stay in for all the years. I don't think it's possible. So here are some educations I did in the last couple of years, and that the company I was working for fully, I took over the whole UX UI department, and I was collaborating with freelancers and agencies. So about when I say I'm a designer, UX UI designer, what people think I usually do. So many people think it's art or hobby. Other people think it's programming, and some people think it's kind of a creative flow of remote work, and then you're sitting on the beach and with your computer. What do I actually do as a designer? So it's a lot of analyzing, it's a lot of prototyping, doing a lot of user research. It's a lot about communication. So my university, the faculty was called Design of Visual Communication, and the first couple of years of my career, I was very focused on the word design, but the last years I've been very focused on the word communication, because it's communication with the users, it's communication within the team, it's communication with clients, so it can make it or break it when it comes to your daily work. Also a lot of testing, collaboration with multiple teams, understanding the problem and solving the problem. That's my favorite, and I think this is the main topic of design, is to understand the problem, because not all problems can be solved by design, and also solve this problem. And actually designing 10%, as you can see. We do have a few minutes more, or should we skip? Okay. So I was giving those talks before, and usually I like to be very realistic when it comes like to work life, because I want everyone like not to romanticize the industry. So I always try to highlight a few challenges which I see as a designers come like in a usual work. So first, a very famous one are short deadlines, unclear or negative feedback, communication in general, because some people are like more introverted, some more extroverted, which is fine, but problem solving and underpayment. So I think there are like, it's a very philosophical questions of finding the solutions about it, but I always try to find some actions which can help us to improve the work life. For example, if you're a designer and you're facing short deadlines, I would recommend to be very strict, to set priorities for projects, to ask your manager to hire more professionals or freelancer, and just from the very beginning you start working to have your boundaries, because there are many young professionals under 30 who have burnouts, and this is very sad story, especially when it comes to startups. Unclear or negative feedback, I think it's for every design industry, for every creative industry. Like, for example, I used to have, like many years ago when I was doing branding, we had a client, she came to us, like we did, I don't know, like 12 different suggestions of the branding. It was on the, I don't know which one stage, and she was like, yeah, I don't feel it. So it was like crazy feedback you could not do anything about. And at some point she was fired, and the manager came to me and said, just choose whatever you like, everything is good. But I was at the point that I was already asking myself, am I a good designer or what is happening?
Yeah, that's really bad.
So I learned through that briefing, everyone knows, but also documentation is very important. So I'd always say, like, over communicating is better than under communicating. Pretend you're like stupid person, you need to ask every single question if it's not in the briefing. And even we used to do so that, for example, if there was like a briefing, then we had the first suggestion round, and after suggestion round, our project manager would send the email saying, okay, we understood this ABC. Are you agree with that? If yes, the team will start work on that. If not, we will ask more questions. So communication, as I said, it's really like invest in developing your soft skills. It's incredibly important to find a new job, to be more happier in your work life, and just to be a happier human, I would say. Problem solving. So this is very interesting one, because on one hand, I believe design is all about problem solving. On another hand, I think not every problem can be solved by design. For example, a couple of years ago, when the lockdown just hit, I used to work for a startup, and when the lockdown hit, the sales, of course, decreased. So they were pushing like the product team, okay, we need to do something in order to increase the sales. But not always it's possible. Like if we change the user flow, or if we do a new branding, or if we change the logo, it does not make people spend more money or on stuff they don't necessarily need in this time of uncertainty. So it's like very important to communicate, to check the reality. And as a designer, I believe it's your responsibility to figure out the problem, because sometimes people come and they think, okay, I need new, I don't know, whatever new icon or new feature, but actually you don't need it, okay? You just need maybe to, I don't know, to change the target group. And underpayment, internship. So yeah, especially as a female professional, I think many people, many young professionals, they kind of like undervalue their contribution. As I said, like never do unpaid internships. I also, when you were talking about Spotify project, I would not agree on that, to be honest, because this week I had a talk with like a friend of mine who's a senior recruiter, and he said, like, once you see this not real project in the portfolio, everyone knows it's not a real project. So what from my side I would suggest, go and find real projects, even if they're small, but you will learn from that. You will learn how to communicate with clients. You will learn how to handle the real problems, and not like a Spotify, which is already doing quite good. And to finish it with a positive note, what are the inspiring aspects of design? Solving problems always gives me a good feeling. Collaboration, because you can find many cool projects in design. Actually coming to working on super creative projects. I would not say it's like 90% of your job, but I would say maybe 30% of your job would be really cool creative projects. Developing your soft skills, working on different projects. So as a designer, I think it's never boring, because it's not that you have to do like boring, like I don't know, like there are people who do icons only. I don't know how they do it, but usually it's not the case, especially if you work in startups. You get to know like multidisciplinary teams, which is also great experience, because I can say that working with marketing team and working with IT team are like two different experiences of your life. Constant learning, making things look pretty, yay, and designing and actually getting to know design community again, to networking, just to encourage you to reach out, to speak to other people. I'm sure like since like 10 years I've been in design community, I would say everyone is like super friendly and open, and it's not like, I don't know, like lawyers or something who are distant. Everyone in design mostly are super open to communicating. Okay, so that's all. Thanks a lot. If you want to connect on LinkedIn, I just leave it here. If you have any questions, you can reach out. And that's all from my side.
Thank you very much. That was super awesome. Really. Okay, let's open up a Q&A session.
Yes.
And I do have a question.
Sure.
Okay? Can I start, guys? Okay, I was interested in one point, actually. So for someone who's just starting out, I think this applies to many fields. How to like find real projects as a beginner?
I would say try to understand what you're interested in, and then find people who are in this industry. I'll give an example, and then reach out to them. For example, when I was finishing my university, we were doing a design, like everyone had to do a design project. For me, it was my personal decision that I want this design project to be a real one with real clients, because I don't want to invest 6 months of my life for nothing. So I was thinking, okay, what do I like? What areas are interesting for me? What topics can bring me something, what I want to focus on for 6 months? So I found this project, which is in Berlin, which is called Ein guter Plan. I think maybe German people know it. So it's basically like they are working about awareness. They create products, like the real products, like books or sketchbooks and stuff like that. And they have a website, and they are working on raising awareness about mental health in Germany. So I thought, okay, this is a cool project. So I thought, okay, maybe I just reach out to him. And I did. So I found the founder, I wrote him an email, and I said, hey, so I'm a design student. I found your project really cool, and I want to, like, your project would be one of my priorities I would like to work on for my bachelor. And he answered, and he said, cool. And then we met, and then we found out he was actually also studying design, so we kind of connected really good. And then I started to like get to know the team, and basically during the 6 months of my bachelor project, they were kind of like my client, because for example, I did everything. I did like a design of awareness campaign, I did the website, I did social medias, I did illustration and the whole branding. So I was like invited to a Slack chat of them, and so every couple of weeks we had to check in, like, so what do you guys think about that? And they gave me really good feedback. So on one hand, I had my professors who was already guiding the project, even though he was not agreed with everything, and I had the real clients. And then 2018 or 19, it was the best feeling to see the project going live and to see people coming. And so I think you should just, but because I was interested in that, I would not do something for like, I don't know, medical care, because medical care maybe yes, but insurance, for example, I would not do something because I would not like to focus on that much. But I think just find something you're interested in and then reach out and hope for the best.
That's really incredible. I think it's really hard for someone starting new to have the confidence to do that. Yeah. But if you just do it, you will get responses.
Yeah, I think you should, it's like if you jump, like, how people jump into cold water. Some people go and say, like, oh, maybe I don't know it's cold, and some people just jump. I think you should just jump. Yeah.
That's a great advice. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Uh, Thank you for presentation. It was very good. I'm not a student in Berlin. I just moved to Berlin a few years ago, and I found I'm changing my career. I found there are so many opportunity for students, but for who is not a student, just few. For example, for internship or even work in real project. How can we find those opportunity when we are not a student and when we are very new and fresh in this industry?
Okay, so
For
first,
example, for me, I can very mm, different industry and
what
different
kind of industry?
career. My previous job, I work as a Chinese translator, Chinese business translator.
Means you're patient. Nice. Okay, so what would I do? I would.
Especially because of tax and other reasons, most of companies they prefer to choose student.
Yeah. Okay, so in Germany there is like a thing which is called a Pflichtpraktikum, which is like how to translate this in English, Victor? Obligatory things. Obligatory internship, which means it's obligatory for students, but it's also obligatory for companies who have places for this internships to offer them. And so, as far as I know, but I'm not like a professional lawyer or something, but as far as I know, every company has an amount of internship places which are obligatory for students. They have to give to students which need this place. So I would agree to you saying that yes, it's easier to find a place if you're a student because from the legal perspective.
Yeah.
However, there are still companies which are open for people like just to come and do internship just because you're interested. I would say, if I was in your position, I would just write a list of companies I like in Berlin, for example, even though they don't have open position or maybe they have, and just reach out to them and say that you're interested and be like super personal. Like, I mean, personal meaning show how you stand out. Like, for example, even your experience in the previous career might be very beneficial. So I would recommend just create this list, write each of this company, and then just like, have you learned about like Kanban in design? Yeah. So then you just see like, okay, so this is the stage you sent, they answered, rejection, not rejection, second round, so you keep moving. And I think either you will find the internship this way, or if not, maybe you will find some good feedback which can help you to land an internship later.
I thought just I can apply companies publish the position for internship. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't try for
Yeah, there are usually when
other
you
companies.
check on the
don't
website,
open.
there is always like in the job description, if there are no open position, you can still check. There is like a active application or something like this as well.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Okay.
I want to ask something about the unpaid internship because I was actually in this one situation. I want to apply it for a job for industrial designer, and they told me it's not even paid. But even though so many people are applying,
and you tell them goodbye.
And I tell them goodbye. I didn't go for this job. I don't have a good feeling.
Yeah.
I don't have a good feeling, but on the other side, I think lots of people are looking for experience. I think if I can put in my resume that I have the experience, might be better. So actually, I might want to ask all of you guys, like, how often does this happen? And what should we do?
I think
because it's so toxic. It's really toxic.
Yeah.
Can I have, isn't it like in Germany actually according to law that it's actually not allowed to like take interns without payment?
I think this is new, to be honest.
Yeah.
This is new. So what would I do? I think, as I said, like, don't accept it. If other people apply it, it's not your life. I mean, they do what they want. The only one thing I would take into consideration if this brand is like really big, like if it's something like Adobe or Figma or Adidas, whatever, then I would say maybe I would take it into consideration doing even maybe then like 6 weeks internship, not 6 months, just to do it like have it here on your resume. But I would never do an unpaid one because it's like it's not valuing your work, and it's also like you do it for the companies who basically just like try to burn you, to take the advantage of you.
I think it's illegal.
Yeah.
Bigger
It's really
companies
illegal.
like
Even people house cleaning, they get paid.
like
And we haven't paid.
I actually disagree, especially the big companies should not take an advantage of people. The
Yeah, but
companies
this
that
is-
have a certain level established, have money and definitely can afford paying. Absolutely
happens a
no,
lot.
and bravo
Yeah.
to you for
Really?
standing up
Yeah.
against this.
Yeah, but this, for example, I have a lot of friends who are illustrators, and one friend of mine, he used to work for the New York Stamp in US, and he was not paid for his illustration because they told him, like, you will get from us so many clients.
Kosher.
Yeah, but this is like, this we don't accept. So I think as a young professional, I can imagine maybe doing a very short internship just to see what's in and to know the insider world. But when you already have a few years of experience, no, it's work. Like as you see, design is not like art. We are doing a lot of work here, so it should be paid.
Yeah, also I think people are not appreciated with designs. I actually made, there was the other events. It was for freelancer or companies to connect with each other. And a girl, I think she have a company, and she talked with me like, I told him your logo looks not very right, and she told me, yeah, you can improve it, but I'm not going to pay you.
Yeah,
but I can,
work like
but
that.
I can recommend you to my other clients. I'm like, no way, I'm not going to do this.
No.
But they're not opportunity design.
Let me give you an idea. If she tells you that she won't pay you, ask what else can she offer you.
Yeah, she said I can recommend you to my other clients. That's she said.
And what is in for that? Keep asking. What is good for me? And keep asking. It won't stop. But always look from the point of view, what is in for yourself?
Yeah.
Or what can she do for you?
I think you
Because in the
should-
next
you
5
should-
years, you will be what everybody is looking for. So you're on a training path, and then you might, so it's okay. But it's very important to always ask, okay, if you're not going to pay me, what else is in for you? And keep going and keep going.
Sorry, can I ask?
Yeah.
So I think that the most difficult part after studying like UX UI is to get the first job. So I was wondering if you have other colleagues or that you suggest to like real projects. Like how many of them maybe like an average or just to kind of know how it will take like maybe. I know it depends on how big
yeah.
the project is.
I would say minimum between like 3, 4, 4 would be minimum. I would say because I mean, of course, it depends in which field of UX UI you are. If you're like a user research and you want to present some kind of case study, maybe 1 or 2 would be enough, but like really very like deep work through it, right?
Mhm.
Because even when you're in job applications, no one goes through every your project like really detailed. Maybe you choose like 1 or 2 you present, and this you're talking about. So but if we're talking about like just interface design or user journey and things like this, I would say like 3, 4 minimum, but not 20.
Okay.
I have one more question. So regarding the projects that you're talking about, so let's say if someone is new to the design career and is still learning and wants to land the first internship or the first project, at what stage would you recommend that they start looking? Like obviously they have to learn a certain part of the design course and then go on looking for projects, and also how to approach someone, like what to show that you have that you can successfully bring their project to success.
Okay, let's divide it into questions. So first, when are you going? When do you
At
think?
what stage do you
Yeah.
start looking for projects?
Yeah.
If you are a self-learner or be it from any course, but you are learning the design, like
Yeah.
any
The sooner the better, I would say. The sooner, because design is not philosophy, you learn it by doing, and you can watch as many videos as you want, but before you start moving things in Figma, nothing will happen. So the sooner you have the opportunity to start working, do it. And I would say do it even during the course. Because it might take a lot of time, or it will definitely take some time while you find someone. So you will not have this, okay, I completed this course 6 months, now 6 months search for my first job is not productive. Like I would say, just be proactive and start searching while you're in the course. And then when you're actually trying to convince people how they can profit from your knowledge, I think what helps is just like burning eyes, which many young professionals have, because it's for me was also that I did not knew everything when I was landing the first job, but because I was like so certain I could do it and I was so passionate about it, they were convinced. So I think this is like the better mindset to have, other than you come and you say, yeah, I don't know, I just started, I don't know this and that.
Show motivation.
Yeah, motivation, and just also be kind of confident in yourself, because you did this like you made a decision, like you want something from it, so go for it. Yeah.
Thank you for great insights. And I wanted to ask you about this. You have a kind of a previous experience in branding and graphic design. And how do you think UX, UI, and graphic design or branding kind of, work together? Does it like boost each other? Or like, does it take the focus out of the UX, UI design projects on your portfolio, or does it like it can be combined somehow?
Oh, okay. Very good question. So from my personal perspective, I don't think it will be combined. I mean, it can be combined, but then you're not good in anything. So for myself, I made a decision a couple of years ago that I focus completely on UX UI. Why? Very simple, because I preferred the way of working with product teams way more than with marketing teams. Just like it more planned, more analytical, I can measure better, and it's like more objective than graphic design traditional when it comes to branding. Also, I think the graphic design probably will be decreasing in the next couple of years, because I think everyone knows what is happening with artificial intelligence and stuff like that. So I would recommend to really focus on one, either product or graphic design. Because even like if you take companies, usually those are two different teams. There is a marketing team, brand team, and there is a product team, and they have two different workflows and they have different goals. Maybe the one thing they share is the colors, codes, whatever.
Yeah. Could you guide me through what you were saying by contacting companies? With milestones, for example, you contacted the company and you said, would you like to work on a project? What are the milestones?
Yeah. So I think maybe some of young designers know the Kanban system. Does anyone? Yeah, okay. So it's a system which is used usually for IT projects to kind of like to manage the progress, right? So it consists of different stages. Basically, there is a task, and then this task is in the process, in the making. Maybe it's blocked, it's done, and then you like.
Could you give me an example of the task and guide it through?
Yeah, sure. For example, so today I sent 5 applications to 5 companies I liked. This is like one.
But this is more organizing and managing. I'm talking about a real project.
Let me go
Okay,
through. So basically, from those, maybe 2 did not respond, 2 rejected, 1 said, okay, yes, let's move on to the next stage. Then you moved on to the next stage. It's already like, okay, you have an interview with them. So you put in who's your contact person, you're in the preparation, you have this interview, they say, okay, let me come back to you within 2 weeks. Within those 2 weeks, maybe one company of those who did not respond at the beginning came back to you again. So this is kind of like to keep you updated, where are you in your application process, and also once you get a rejection, it might be helpful to ask them for space for improvement. Because like as HR people, like how they like to write these huge emails, like ask them for feedback, because it's always, some people would not answer you, but some people will, and this will be your chance to learn what you can work on.
You're talking about application process right now. I'm just talking in general technology. So technologically, not how to get an apprentice.
Like which program do I use for this?
Yeah, no, not really. Let's say now you're with the company, you finish the enrolling and doing all. So how do you start now working with?
Like getting to know the what is the problem and maybe starting.
So you start with an interview asking to improve Spotify, for example.
So I already have a client. And how do I start with it? Okay, I got it. Sorry. So first you would meet and say, okay, so why do you want me to do a design, or what is your what is the challenge? We don't say problem because it sounds we say what is the challenge. And then while people love talking about challenges, because people who are working for the company, they always have some problems going on, because otherwise everything will be so smooth and perfect in this world.
There will be any jobs.
And then you will be taking notes, asking what is the target group, if there were any user testings done on that, what is the stage of the development, how many people are within the teams, like are there any freelancers and stuff like that. So you have to first, don't say any assumption, like don't even say the logo looks bad, like never say the logo looks bad. If they ask you, never say this. So just gather information, like this is what I learned from philosophy. So you have like big ears, and then you just grab all the information you can take, and then you analyze it. And then when you analyze it, and then you see, okay, here I can actually help, then you come to them with a real solution. And you say, like, it's not that I'm a designer, I can do your design. You say, no, you have this and this challenge. Like, for example, maybe I cannot bring you 10 new customers from the street, but I see there is a problem, like the CTA button is, for example, badly readable. Maybe as a designer, I can suggest like this to change this color, very simple. And then we do like A/B testing. And then you see that if you change the color, then maybe more people click on it, and then it increases the sale, and then it's already
solves the challenge.
Yeah.
So, okay, this question, like the response, had a lot of parts in it. If we can recap it into like 3 or 4 steps, we would probably say that understanding the challenge is the first step.
But how do you find the challenge? By asking, by interviewing?
By listening.
Yeah, by listening. I think because there is always a challenge, and people, they love talking about the challenges, because if you have your arm like painful, you will talk about it, right?
Yeah.
So this is the same what happens to company. Just come and listen, and you want to know exactly where they are standing. So then you take all the information you have. So first you listen, then you analyze, and then you come with a concrete suggestion.
And then you test it?
I mean, if they agree, then yes, I would say if you have we take this agree test, which is very good because it's easy to do. Then you can show them, and then you can convince them by numbers, not by words.
So, okay, this is just so we can get all advice here. When we listen and understand the challenge, like to come up with concrete goals, we need to come up with concrete goals, because these are going to be like the result. How do you do that?
Yeah, this is in the first part, because like when you get to know the company, they say, okay, for example, I have books. I want to sell those books. I want to sell like 10 books a day.
So that's the challenge.
That's the goal. That's the goal. You see, you're already not listening. So
it's confusing to me. I'm sorry.
So that's the goal. You remember at the beginning of this lecture, I have the goal.
Okay.
Every time I have a goal. So I want, like me as a customer, have like a goal. I want to sell 10 books every day.
Okay.
Okay, but there is a challenge. For example, on my website I don't have, I don't know, book description, or the links are not working, or just like everything is badly designed. I don't know, there is no mobile experience.
You gotta figure that out.
Yeah, like, and this is not what client tells you, but when you know the goal, when you gather all the information, because you ask, okay, who is the target group? If the target group are like people 65 plus, maybe we don't need mobile experience, because maybe they're not, like, they're more on the laptops or computers. But if the target group is like 25 plus, and we would say like 70% of the customers would come potentially from the mobile part, and your mobile version of your website where your book is sold is bad, then this is the problem. But the customer will not tell you. You have to listen, you have to understand the goals, and then you will find the challenge.
Do you do that in one meeting or?
No, I mean, so if the project is big, what I like to do is to have like a kick-off meeting, which usually takes like a couple of hours. And so in this meeting, there is like a team, my team, like me as a designer, maybe product manager, product owner, also like brand team and the customer. So we sit together and we decide, like, because we have to keep things measurable, right? Because if we say, okay, let's make a new user experience within 2 days, nice, not happening. But if we sit together and decide, okay, we have those 3 main challenges and we have this amount of money, and we as a company understand, okay, we does not collaborate with each other, so we say, okay, what is your priority? So challenge 1 is your priority, and we're working on that. So usually, I mean, of course, it's a perfect world. There are always some parts and communication happening after, and many emails sent after. But I would say to have this kind of like structure is always helpful. To have this kind of kickoff meeting, so everyone is aligned. What is the challenge? What is the goal? What do we want to do? And then you come back with this information within yourself or inside the team, and then you sit together and think, okay, what we can do, and then you bring the suggestion.
Thank you very much for the
First,
insights.
collect all the information, then you will think about it.
Analyze it.
And then you will go back and show them an option.
Yeah, I would always come with suggestions. I would say maybe I would say like 2 or 3 suggestions. Maybe they will not be satisfied, but you will already have something to work on. Because it's very, you have to understand that people who are not into design, they're also not used to give feedbacks. Like they know, okay, somehow I don't like it, but they will never tell you, okay, this color is like too saturated and this font is too big and it's, I don't know. They will say something feels wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And it's your job as a designer, again,
yeah.
coming again to communication to figure out what exactly feels wrong. Yeah.
Do you encounter often clients who are like stuck on the solutions that they have in their minds? Or
it happens. It's not an easy, definitely. So it depends. It happened to me in the past a few times actually. So what I did, I talked to my project manager because at some point, to be honest, like it's now here I'm like talking, but at some point, like if you're working on a project for a couple of months, then you kind of have allergy on it. So at some point, like I want the project manager to clarify the goals with that client. And this is like, again, coming to the question between the graphic design and product design. I think this is a huge advantage of product design because it's way more objective and you can speak much better with numbers and with clicks and with purchases than you do with graphic design. Because graphic design is like very subjective. Some people say, oh, I don't like yellow color, but the core corporate identity is yellow. So you cannot change it. But with product design, it's like, no bad feelings, but this solution works better, so we do it. Like, it's your product. If you don't want to take our suggestion, sorry for that.
Okay.
I mean, this contract should be discussed before even you start.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm switching professions a bit. Like, so I was a designer and I switched to UX research actually. And what I'm finding is, I I have a lot of experience, and it feels like I'm starting over, like I'm starting from zero. But also I find that I have a lot of imposter syndrome. Like, why am I doing this? Like, I have so much experience in this. Why am I starting a new field? Blah blah blah. So I want to hear more about your journey from switching from design into UI UX, and how was it like for you?
Yeah. So for me, to be honest, on one hand, I can understand what you're going through. For me, I think what helped me is because I was working for startups, and when you work for startups, you do everything. So it's not that you're having like, okay, there's a graphic designer, there's a user researcher, there's an illustrator, there's a product owner, and the UX UI designer. You do everything. So it was not this kind of like, it was a very smooth transition for me. So at some point we had launching new project. We have this product. We need a product designer. Like, can you take it over? I was like, sure, I can take it over. So I took it over, and so I think I would say UX, UI, and graphic design are not like super far away from each other, right? I think UX is like way more analytical and way more like database than graphic design, but in the end, it's still something what looks and function. So I think your experience in the past is 100% a big advantage. And I think maybe in your case, I would focus more on this like user experience than user interface, because I can imagine user interface you can quite good understand even visually because you have already your skills, but just to work on that analytical part and research part.
Any other questions? Cool. Let me just quickly end this stream, and